Hey, Carmen. Hey, Kris. Just doing a quick sound check. No.
I can hear you.
All right, awesome. Video. Are you finally back home, Carmen?
Yes, I am. Yay. I went to the gym for the second time today after 3 months of not going, and it consists. But if it doesn't bother anybody else, I will bite my tongue, which is very difficult for me to do, but I will do it.
No, I appreciate the editing.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with the editing. Um, well, how about this?
Let's start with that.
Let's start with that. Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I was thinking. Do you want me to pull up the documents or?
Yeah, and it's the table of contents mainly, because I was thinking about what actually needs, what is policy and what is not policy. Um, and I mean, we're good, but we're calling this whole document the policy. So part one is the introduction. Part two is those. I should wait until you have it up. Sorry.
Yeah,
Well,
sorry.
I'm getting it up on my computer because that helps me. My computer can't do Zoom, so I do that on the whatever.
I'm just making sure I get the right policy up here. Okay.
Hi, Coley.
All right.
Hi, Kris.
On the screen, I can make it bigger too if you need me to do that. There we go.
That works. That works good. Okay. So
Okay.
we're calling this whole document the policy. So we've got the introduction.
Mm-hmm.
We've got administrative rules that we're just quoting. Then we've got the transition, and then we have this title, Montana State Library Certification Policy, which I think we should chuck out because the whole document is the policy. So that subtitle there makes no sense to me.
Okay.
And then just move the initial certification over as a part of the table of contents. Move it all the way to the left as a,
As just a main initial certificate.
yeah.
Okay.
And the same with the renewal. So these are two things in the table of contents.
And I know that you pointed out we use certification and certificate. Which do we want to use? Certificate or certification?
I like certificate, but I just wanted consistency because,
Yep.
I would put certification because that's what the law says.
okay,
The law says we are responsible for certification.
Okay. So we will
sounds good.
change. We're going to delete MSL certification policy. And we are going to change both to, it will say initial certification and renewal certification. Okay.
Sounds good. Then the earning credits, once I read again what we actually put under that, I didn't think that made sense. I thought instead we should have in there we should have for a title course of study and then for another title course catalog because we're talking about those two things.
Oh, gotcha.
In the policy, we mentioned that there is a course of study. We don't, you know, enshrine it in the policy, but we say that it's there.
Mhm. The only thing I would say is end users, the librarians, they are used to that earning credits.
Okay.
And I could see them looking for that. So what do you think about course of study dash earning credits?
Whatever you think works.
Okay.
Whatever you think works.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. And then
what we're mentioning in the policy is how often we review the course of study and what it is and what we do with it, not the actual thing itself, but it has to be mentioned in the policy that it's something we're doing. So,
okay. All right.
And then the reconsideration of previously denied request. I didn't think needed to be a title either. We just have under adding classes several bullets.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those two bullets under that title of reconsideration should just be two bullets under how to add classes. They just further describe the process.
Mm.
It's
Yeah, it makes sense.
it's part of how to add a class is
Yeah.
what to do if you say
Reconsideration of a previously denied request.
Yeah.
to be its
Yeah.
own
I
its own
totally
heading.
agree on the conference sessions in that one. I was actually thinking about the end user again, and I'm like, would I think to look for what do I do if the commission has said, no, we're not going to add that to the catalog under adding classes to the course catalog? Do you know what I mean?
I'm assuming that you've read everything under that before you ever tried to add a course.
Okay.
So I'm assuming you read all those 5 bullets.
Okay.
Courses may be added by submitting this form. Suggested courses are reviewed. Staff and commission will consider them based on these
Oh, I see what
criteria.
you're saying.
If the commission chooses to deny, if the applicant
Mhm.
feels the current, it's all part of that one same process of how to add a class. So
So I
I,
see what you're saying. You're saying adding classes to the course study and then bullet, reconsidering a previously denied special
just
circumstance.
remove reconsideration from the table of contents. It's just under that added
I
classes.
think you need it. I think you need to have it there, but maybe not as its own point. I think people would look and say, "Oh, I heard that class wasn't added. Is there anything we can do?" But I
Wouldn't you
wouldn't mind
read
it being
at,
bullet.
okay.
I think
I don't, if you look at what's under adding classes and under reconsideration, it adds up to a total of 5 bullets. To me, those 5 bullets are all part of how you add a class. So I would just remove that title and continue with the bullet. What happens if, but whatever. I mean, to me, logically, it doesn't make any sense
Mhm.
that that's another heading. Because
well, I would be
that's part of,
comfortable. I would be comfortable with the heading because I think it does 2 things. I think one, it clarifies, and two, it gives people an understanding that they do have that option. Um, if they've heard a class was denied and they're thinking, oh, well, there's no point, it helps them to see that. But I like your bullet of the next 2 points under it.
okay, so you think the title needs to stay.
I kind of do. Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
important, but that's me.
Okay,
Um,
that's fine, then it can stay.
what do you think, Jenny? What do you think, Colette?
Well, the thing that's nice about having it be a heading is the accessibility, and it makes it really easy for a person to go directly to that point. Like, I think the conference sessions, I get why we would just add them as a bullet under adding classes to the course catalog and not have that.
Actually, that I would not suggest
Okay, okay.
because that's you can't add a conference session. You can only have it okayed after or no, we do add it. No, I take that back. But I wasn't actually gonna mess with. So
Um, but I would say that for just for ease of use of people, I like having the reconsideration of a previously denied request because I think you're right. People absolutely should read this whole thing, and it's not very long. And I think that making it really easy and obvious makes it clear that the commission has created a process for people to basically say, hey, we'd like you to reconsider. So that's my thinking. But Colette, do you have a preference or?
No, I'm just taking notes so we can fix the heading structure and make sure that it makes sense. Yeah, I'm just taking notes.
Okay.
And may I ask a question about what we're doing here, Jenny, Tracy? I'm trying to pull up this thing. When I go to Colet's a notice of today, it just has how to get on the Zoom. Is this material under a previous one, the CE certification subcommittee?
It is actually on the State Library Commission site.
Okay.
Let me just give you the link. There you go. And if you click on that, it's the CE certification policy.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry about that.
Nope, that's okay.
And then the only other comment I had, and I don't know why we don't have that in there anymore, under special circumstances, we have conference sessions, but we're not talking anymore about the live training in your town, with the fire department or whatever it is. It's like that fell out. And I know we discussed it. Further down under special circumstances, we're only talking about conference sessions. And I'm like, what happened to the discussion we had about the other live training, local and live in-person training? It should be there under special circumstances, and it's not. So I don't know if we just missed it somehow, and we could easily add it just by saying conference sessions and other in-person learning opportunities, and it would cover them. And the policy is the same. We'd love to know about it beforehand. If you have a reason why you couldn't tell us beforehand, we'll still consider it because we don't want to discourage in-person learning, blah, blah, blah. But we're not mentioning it anymore somehow.
Okay. So under special circumstances, conference sessions and other live in-person trainings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Okay.
So that's in there too.
All right.
Good. And thank you for indulging my thoughts.
Well, that was perfect because McKenna is now here. So.
Hi, McKenna. Gotcha.
It's okay, McKenna.
I apologize for being late. I had another meeting that ran late, so.
We figured that.
You did. Okay. All right. Anything else with just language tweaks?
One other thing, we put in under special circumstances. The last paragraph says librarians are encouraged to submit upcoming conference sessions for credit approval well in advance using this form, and it's a link. And when we do further earlier in the document under adding classes, we're saying courses may be added to the catalog throughout the year by submitting a proposal to MSL staff using the form provided. I would like that to be the same using this form with a link. So it's both the same. Because it's the same form, right?
Okay. Yep. So add the hyperlink.
Yeah, just under adding classes, instead of using the form provided, make it consistent and say using this form, and it's the same link.
Okay. All right. You got it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. MLIS discussion. I guess I have a question for the committee members. Do you want to allow Kris to speak first and then have our discussion, or do you want us to talk and then ask Kris? What process would you like to use?
Well, I prefer just having the topic and then having Kris, we'll ask him questions along the way.
Does that sound good? Okay. All right. So who wants to open up the discussion about the MLIS degree?
I thought about the concern that Commissioner Burnett voiced, and we had discussed it in one of our meetings as well, that we really have no say over what gets taught to get a degree. So there's nothing there that we can or should do. And I went and dug into as much information as you can get without actually taking a course. And then I looked around the ALA guidelines for their what do you call it, course?
The standards.
Yeah, how they certify. And And there's definitely, it's true, there's DEI still in there. They're doing their best to maintain it, renaming it EDI or whatever all they're doing. But I don't see that we can create a curriculum to count that, and I don't think that's our job, frankly. The degree is a degree.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think we have to look at it as a degree. If we required, or said that any bachelor degree of English or literature or management or whatever could be concerned, we have to look at it as the fact of that, but maybe add a little bonus because it's in the library masters of library science. But I really thought, first of all, that Commissioner Burnett brought up a really good point about it completely replacing that, because regardless of what the study is, it probably doesn't address Montana law, Montana budget, Montana open meeting. But I really appreciated Carmen saying it doesn't have to be all or nothing. And that was like a ta-da moment for me. I was like, I have a tendency to think of all or nothing. And when you said, well, we could count it as part and not nothing, because I thought we should count it as something, but I'm not comfortable jumping all the way to being everything. So I'd like to look for a compromise.
I think any master's degree in library science will cover part of what the initial certification requires. I mean, collection development, all those things, I'm
Yeah.
sure it covers, regardless of what else is in it. So I looked and I thought there were 10 credits that made sense to me that it would replace. And then there
Yeah.
were 10 other credits that were very Montana specific. And maybe we would be better off to just say the degree replaces all those actual library science topics, but it does not replace the Montana specific stuff.
Or that we will count 10 of the credits, but the 10 they need to take are Montana specific, like say it that way. Well, Kris, would you agree that they cover all the library stuff, but not the specific Montana? Would you talk for a minute?
Sure, thanks. The experience I had from 2021 to 2023 at the information school at the University of Wisconsin to earn the Masters of Library Information Studies, as they call it, covers all of those courses, those librarianship courses related to, as you say, library management, collection development, information organization, cataloging, and the operations of a library, both public library and academic library, the courses that I took. And so they do address those standards that the American Library Association Committee on Accreditation is seeking to ensure are taught at their accredited and recognized institutions. And so that degree allowed me to gain initial certification as a librarian in Montana. I'm not working in a public library and an academic library, but I still am considered to be certified by the state library for having earned that Master's of Library Information Studies. I did not have any library credits prior to earning the degree. It was the degree that allowed me to become certified. And during my time at the information school, Wisconsin was going through its ALA accreditation process. And so they asked for student volunteers to meet with the accreditors. And I stepped forward to conduct those meetings for their online program. And they asked the questions about content of the courses related to librarianship, management, cataloging, and making sure that the rigor that was expected of the Committee on Accreditation was being satisfied in the view of the students. And that experience showed me that process was very much focused on academic rigor, making sure that this was truly a master's level program, 500, 600, 700, 800 level courses. And Wisconsin earned its re-accreditation during my time in the school, they were one of the first schools to earn accreditation in the 20s. And so they've had it for over 100 years now, and they've been able to maintain that, I think, as a lot of schools have, by focusing on the needs of libraries, the needs of patrons. The other part of this that I discovered after looking into it a little bit more is a memorandum of agreement between the Committee on Accreditation and the ALA. And Tracy, I think you had on your window, and I saw one of the tabs was the ALA Committee on Accreditation. If you have the ability to pull that MOU up, I think it might help address some of this for the other commissioners. That MOU.
Is that the one you sent, Carmen?
I don't think so.
So
I looked around. I got stuff off of the ALA website.
if we were to look at that webpage, I could direct you, Tracy, to where I was looking the other day.
I'm gonna
And I noticed
what Carmen sent, and I think that what you are talking about, Kris, is on page 12 or 13, where ALA says to the universities that if they have any concerns about the federal orders, then they are welcome to request using the 2015 standards, which are much different from the 2023 standards. These are the standards that the universities can choose to use, and you'll see that they're much different from 2023.
And I had noticed that the ALA had reviewed their certification requirements like 3 times last year. So clearly they're in they're looking at it because of federal law.
Yep.
And the important aspect of that MOA, or whatever they're referring to it as, is this is a different document. So let me pull up the one that I was looking at. So this is an MOA between ALA and its Committee of Accreditation. And it states that the Committee on Accreditation and the ALA acknowledge that the Committee on Accreditation must have autonomy as specified in this agreement to ensure that professional accreditation functions are carried out independent in proper influence by ALA. And so I know the concern that comes up that some of the commissioners and many librarians around the nation have had is with ALA leadership and some of the things that the ALA has said. The Committee on Accreditation is, by virtue of that agreement, autonomy from any elected official, any elected leadership of ALA. They have to focus on the academic rigor and making sure that those institutions that are accredited are delivering curriculum and knowledge transfer that satisfies the needs of libraries and library patients, regardless of what happens at whoever the president of ALA might be. And so that struck me as saying they have that autonomy. The ALA and the committee have determined that autonomy is necessary to insulate the accreditation process from these types of concerns about what an ALA president or elected leadership of ALA may be saying. And so that was my experience as a recent MLS graduate, that they're focused on higher ed. They're focused on truly delivering courses that meet the expected academic rigor. And
yeah, I some of that, to me, I appreciate them. It says 2 things to me. It says we notice that we have a problem. People are really upset about what's going on. And number 2, we're really not going to do anything about the fact that the person we hired has made statements stating that she is in direct conflict to the American Constitution. However, we're going to give people a way around that by saying the committee won't be influenced by her. So it keeps us from we have a problem, we're not going to take action, but we're going to use words to tell you can work around her.
Commissioner, that memorandum is from 2010.
Yeah.
It predates any controversy regarding the ALA.
Oh, good. Okay, that's good to know. 2010.
So.
Now, the one that Carmen brought up was more recent, and it does address that. I thought initially they were going to avoid this problem, but then when you get into that one page, it's just solid DEI. But again, I don't think the issue is what they do or what they require. I think the issue is, you know, if I had to have a law degree for my assistant or my partner, I wouldn't say, as long as you don't have law classes in this and this and this. I wouldn't do that. It would be the degree. So, but I think the question is, and I appreciate that, Kris. I think the question is, do you acknowledge that there are Montana specific law and budgeting in that? Anywhere in the nation, I wouldn't expect that.
Well, there wasn't Montana specific
Yeah.
course delivered at Wisconsin, but I took every opportunity to apply Montana law, given my background.
Yes, very good point. You
Yeah.
knew you were coming here, so you wanted to make sure your degree was relevant. And yeah.
But my focus is not on what might be in the degree that I wouldn't consider useful. My focus is on the people we certify should have the right knowledge. And maybe this made me revisit the course of study for the initial certification. And it made me rethink that we just said it covers it all. Because I looked at it and it was pretty much down the middle. 10 credits were, well, anybody who knows about libraries and has a degree would know this. And then, this is totally Montana specific. It wouldn't hurt to ask this, that they take these 10 credits, even if they have a professional degree. So I wasn't focused on the DEI ultimately anymore. I revisited that course of study. And if you can pull it up, Tracy, the course of study draft, the page 1 with the contents, I kind of just went through that.
Yeah, so I
and said that should, somebody with a professional degree should be proficient. That might be something that has very Montana specific stuff that maybe we should still ask somebody to do. And, initial certification, we purposefully kept it relatively low number of credits. And maybe we can just cut it in half. Do you have a contents page, Tracy? That's a little bit earlier.
right there. Go under the competencies. Go under the competencies.
Under the course of study draft, not the.
If you keep going down, you've got your competencies, and that's what I looked at. One more page down.
I had a page ahead of this, a page 1 that was the contents.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I went by one more down.
But maybe I'm looking at an old draft.
Yeah. Okay.
There it is. That's what I looked at to figure out. So I thought basic laws, that's got state law in it. Maybe we should still require that. So that's 4 credits. And financial management is also, I thought, very state specific with our different types of libraries, whether they're a district or a county or a agreement between county, city, blah, blah. That all, I'm assuming, makes the financial management part kind of state specific. And then the board, government community relations, I thought was definitely Montana specific. And then I thought maybe facility management. So those were the 10 that I thought maybe we should still require, even if you come in with a degree. And the others, planning, policy development, especially library services, personal management, data and reporting, might be something you have learned through your degree. So this is just me thinking through it. Kris can probably tell us better whether that's at all close. And it doesn't have to be cut in half any way we want to do it, so that the degree, the people don't have to repeat what they already know, but we are forcing them to learn the Montana specific stuff that they very likely did not get through their degree.
I think I'm probably a unique case because I didn't have any credits prior to completing the degree. I think the way to maybe view it would be someone who's been working in a Montana library and while pursuing their degree. And so they may have been engaged in continuing education for their current employment with the library while pursuing the degree. So that drafting it in a way that recognizes their degree in addition to the work that they've already done, it will be important because you may have those employees that are pursuing the degree while working and may have credits accumulated from their employment. Recognizing that, providing the flexibility to allow that to occur, and then taking into account those other situations where someone may be completing the degree without any prior credits, and that having, as it's currently drafted, having those two separate paths, so to speak, can be useful. So in a situation where someone has not been working in a library, does not have any continuing education credits accumulated, completes the degree, earns the degree, and files for initial certification, then saying, yes, you are initially certified, you have to complete some Montana specific courses within 2 years or 1 year to complete.
I think that fits really well. I liked the way you said that.
So that
Would you go down to page 3
No,
for
okay.
me on competencies? And I'm just a general thinker. Okay, competency. Basic laws, that's Montana. Financial management, Montana. Board government and community relationships, that probably falls into a lot Montana because as Kris knows and as Carmen and McKenna know, we have the weirdest setup of libraries. We have some that answer to the board of the county, some of them answer to the city, some who are private and answer to a board, some who answer to tribal. So I think that's very Montana specific. Policy planning, not so much. Facility management, yes, because we have our own laws. Library service, no. Personal management, no. Data and reporting, no. And so looking at that, I think we're very safe saying they are required to take 20 credits. If they have received a master's of library science in the last 5 years, that will count as 10 of their credits. The other 10 must be from classes that are Montana, that give Montana specific. I think that would take away the problem.
I think, Tammy, we can specify in the course of study, these credits are covered by the degree, these credits are not. So exactly how you said, basic laws not covered by you getting your professional degree. Financial management not covered. Board relations not covered. Policy covered. Planning covered. So that we actually prescribe which 10 credits your degree counts for. And
I think that
would be a very clear way to guide this in the direction we want to, which is we don't want you to repeat what is professional knowledge that you now have, but we want you to get the Montana specific stuff. And maybe Tracy and Colette would know best whether we're on the right track with the credits we're suggesting they still should have to take to get certified.
Before Colette and I jump in, I just want to give McKenna a chance because
please.
What do you think about the direction that we're going?
No, I think it's the right direction. I think that Carmen and Tammy have all had really good input, and I'm supportive of it.
Yeah. That sounds good.
So allow 10. Are you comfortable with allowing half, McKenna? For the degree, they have to take 20 credits. We'll allow 10 for the degree.
Yep, no, I'm fully comfortable for that. I think that's a good middle ground solution where we're not being too overbearing, but where they are a lot of credit.
I don't have strong feelings one way or the other. I pondered the facilities management because my MLIS degree is old, but I probably learned more in my facilities class with library science. However, you are correct that with our particular MSL Learn courses, we actually focus like the safety inspections that someone, it's actually OSHA required,
Yeah.
but the Montana Department of Labor, they're the ones who conduct them. So I am fine. Colette, do you have any strong feelings or anything you'd like to add to the conversation?
I'm going to say I'm very hesitant to add much more than to say, I think I think in terms of implementation, how do we operationalize a policy? And I think we have a level of complexity still that may not be necessary if we look at the number of people for whom this policy exists. And it really is 86 public library directors.
They've had it from 5 years past, or is
But
it?
no, hang on a second. Sorry. In the last 2 years, I think Kris was the last person that we processed an MLIS degree into a certificate. So I'd just like to emphasize that the number of people for whom some of these complexities exist might be one or two.
Yeah.
And so that I guess that's my question or my thought is there an even more streamlined or less complex way of setting clear expectations for library directors
So
about
do we
what is the knowledge that they need to have in order to get a Montana certification?
so are you suggesting that we don't need to mention the degree at all? That it applies to so few people, it's not relevant, and we don't really need to have it mentioned in our policy?
Well, if you recall, we had done that in previous versions and previous discussion was to say we're not going to include this. So then we brought that back in the course of discussion and that. So like I say, I probably should just not say anything at all, but I think in terms of implementation and thinking about the systems that we need to have created still in order to support people getting the certification that they have to have in order to meet standards.
I totally understand where I think Colette's coming from is that let's not overthink and overcomplicate it because it involves so few people. The other side of that is that this is for like 5 years, we hope, or whatever. And people may decide during that time, I think it's worth pursuing. And we might get more people. So I think I understand totally, and I agree with Colette. I think we have to keep it simple. I think I still agree with the compromise. You can bring in 10 credits if you've gotten a master's of library science in the last 5 years. And the 10 credits must be from the classes that emphasize various aspects of Montana libraries. And then underneath maybe list those possibilities and keep it that simple. They can pick from those 10 that do emphasize Montana policy. But I think we do need it because I'm hoping that people do decide, oh, let's pursue that.
It looks a bit provincial and stupid to not acknowledge a professional degree at all. So
Yeah, I wouldn't
that's
do that.
originally where when it was mentioned, I was like, yes. I mean, that's a master's degree. We should acknowledge that. That's
Yeah.
not, I took a community college class. That's a bigger deal. So to not give any credit for it at all to me is discouraging people from advancing themselves professionally, and I don't think we should do that. What we could do to make this possibly simpler is to simply change the order in which we mention the the credits for the course of study for the initial certification and organize them so that the 10 that are covered by a degree are one block and the 10 that are not covered by a degree are a separate block. And we mention in there the above 10 credits are waived if you come in with this professional degree. And then as far as making it look complex, I think it would still be simple enough. And we acknowledge those people who make an effort to advance their careers. And I think that was my original thought, why I thought, yes, it needs to be acknowledged because we want to encourage people to advance in their librarianship. We don't want to discourage that. But I understand the idea of making it simple, and this will only apply to very few people. But maybe if we reorder the credits and just mention it, it'll be very clear which credits you still need to take if you come in with a degree, and
I like
it won't
that
be complex.
very much. I think that's a wonderful solution to keeping it simple for staff. We will acknowledge your degree for
These 10 credits.
these
Boom.
for 10 credits, and the other 10 should be taken from the top 5 items, and then that's it. Yeah. How about, is that too hard to put together in that order, Tracy, before we meet on Wednesday?
Nope, we can do that. That's
Now,
not
does
a
that
problem.
make sense to you? Because I would thoroughly, and I'm sure I can't speak for the other 2 commissioners, but I thoroughly agree that acknowledging the value of taking the degree is so important to just say, yay, it's worth a degree. And they might even think, oh, it's worth credits.
Yeah, no, we can do that. That's not a problem at all. And
And-
I think the librarians would appreciate the acknowledgement because it is hard work to get a college degree. So,
And I think, right now, Tracy, we're in the actual course of study.
Mhm.
That's not what's up for discussion. What we need to look at is the language in the policy that is under initial certification. And we need to put it in there correctly so that we can then go and adjust that course of study with the specificity as to which credits. And I was playing with that wording. Applicants must complete 20 credits within 2 years of employment, and then just add following the requirements of the course of study. And then we put it in the course of study that the degree counts for XYZ, and we don't actually need to put this in the policy at all.
And I would like to clarify that, and I'm not speaking for your colleague, but I don't think colleague was saying not to count the degree. I think she was just saying, let's not make this so complicated that it's not clear what we're doing with it.
You are correct, Sammy.
Yeah, I would think she would. Yeah. Okay.
So do we need in the policy, do we need to mention that the degree counts for 10 credits, or do we only put that in the course of study?
I feel like whether the degree counts or not is a policy issue.
I do too. I think it's
How
so
much it
important.
counts for, I get the course of study, but I think it's more of a policy. That's my thinking.
I would do it as a policy because I don't want to create confusion. And any confusion, I can see somebody going, well, wait a minute, what about my degree? It's fine. And
So
just
we
like,
have these 3 paragraphs to look at.
yeah,
Applicants must complete 20 credits within 2 years of employment. That's still valid no matter what we do with it.
yeah, it doesn't go there.
The second paragraph, I was actually flummoxed by what that means.
Oh, that is, if you as a commission change the course of study on somebody, it doesn't require them to suddenly have to earn. It's like college, So whatever you started with, that's what you've got to finish with.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
So then it's the third paragraph we need to edit. Public library directors hired after July 1st, 2026 with an MLS degree earned within 5 years of hire may substitute their degree.
10 credits of their degree.
May substitute their degree for 10 credits of the initial certificate, 10 of the initial certification credits, see course of study.
Yes.
For the specific credits. So we mentioned that it's 10 credits and we refer them to the course of study to make sure
Yep.
they're aware it's 10 specific credits.
Very well said. May substitute their degree for the 10 credits as outlined on page so-and-so.
May substitute their degree for 10 of the initial certification credits.
Yep. And that's good enough. They'd have to go on to look for them anyway.
And then we can say something like see course of study, or please refer to the course of study for the exact 10 credits that are covered by the degree.
I would just add the word specified. They may substitute their degree for the 10 specified credits of the certification track.
I actually worded it as, please refer to the course of study
Yeah.
to
Okay.
identify which credits may be substituted.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I like that.
So
It's
that
hard-
people reading
Mhm.
this are aware that it's not just any 10, it's very specific and they need to go look it up.
Yeah.
And I think if Tracy and Colette get that together, they can do that because they have the intent of what we're trying to do. McKenna, do you agree with that intent that we'll count 10 credits and they can go to that page to see which ones?
Yep, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Kris, does that make sense to you if you were studying it?
Yeah, as Tracy was talking about, the user intent, user understanding is important. And someone who recently went through it to look at that and say, okay, you have a degree now, and you don't have to take these credits, but within 2 years, I have to complete these 10 credits. I think you would be able to navigate that. So it recognizes the degree, the importance of the degree, the work that went into the degree, but also saying, hey, we got to know what's going on in Montana as well. So I think it makes sense.
And
And
then,
I'm really comfortable letting Colette and Tracy kind of finalize the language because I think, as we've said before, it's hard to write by committee.
it is.
But I would like then, before we go back and pick those credits, because we're on this page, it may not be, we don't need to do it now, but we do have to address if it's a renewal certificate.
That was
And
my
so-
next question.
Yeah, and so I don't know if you want to complete the initial certification wording first, but I do want to point out while we're on this page, we will need to say, because there are people in the renewal process, if you're in the renewal process, your degree will count for how many credits, and we have to decide that.
Yes, please.
I would
Because
say
what
10
we
as
have
well.
here.
10 makes sense to me. If
Yeah,
we're saying 10 before, I'd be okay with 10 there too.
Okay.
And I wanted to add something.
we have 20 in the thing.
Yes, I would like it to change. I suggest that we change it to 10 for
Okay.
consistency.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
Are you sure, Tammy?
Yeah, I think I am. I just assumed that we'd leave it, but
McKenna, do you have?
10 out, we're backing it down to from 20, which is a third, down to 10.
I'm still all good.
You're good? Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
I had on the first paragraph under the renewal, I wanted to add something to clarify. At the end of it, within 5 years of the expiration of their previous MSL certification, because it just says within 5 years. And maybe it's obvious to everybody that it's 5 years from the expiration of your previous certification. But I was like, well, that to me, that was something that clarified
It's a good
a
point.
question that one might possibly have. But I don't know if
No,
if you
within
agree.
5 years of the expiration of previous. Yes, you're right.
And then I also thought, since under initial certification, we're now mentioning the course of study, it would be nice to mention here too, renewal certification credits are not subject to a prescribed course of study. Or do we then not allow ourselves down the road to go in and create one?
That's what that would do. I mean, not that you couldn't change the policy, but that
So maybe it's better not to mention it. Then we haven't tied the hands of future commissions to where they have to go all the way back to amending the policy. Okay, scratch that idea.
Okay. Okay. Anything else with this policy? Okay.
Is the renewal, I'm sorry, is the second sentence of the renewal section going to say substitute their degree credits for the renewal certificate consistent with the course of study? Does it have to be the 10 credits on Montana, or is it just 10 credits? I just want to make sure, again, for end user understanding.
That's a good point, Kris. With the renewals certification, both the assumption and what we have found with librarians and others taking this, they take the Montana stuff. And so the assumption is they will have gone through and taken those classes as part of their initial certification. And so when they're in the renewal, they're allowed to choose what is most appropriate for their library.
I haven't done a renewal yet, so I'm in the middle of it. That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's
So we
go
we
ahead.
could clarify it by saying any 10 credits.
Yeah,
You could?
it might help.
Okay, you got it.
Now, I'm just clarifying for my own self, Tracy.
Mhm.
If they've had, because they can jump in now with their previous degree, and with whatever they have now, they
Right.
can jump in and go right to the renewal certificate.
Mhm.
Is the stuff we've required up to this point include Montana law, Montana finance, Montana stuff? It has
Yes.
included that.
Yes, that's actually why I asked about that, because the vast majority of our library directors have taken the Montana stuff, and if not all of them.
Okay.
That's actually what they request from us as consultants a lot. So, and then I know that they're also taking our MSL Learn courses. So that's actually why I didn't want to make them take them all over again.
Yeah. Okay. But I didn't want to assume that just because they have they're in that renewal certificate that they have taken Montana law, Montana finance.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That is fair.
But you're saying they have, so that's good enough for me.
One thing with the wording of this one paragraph, we're saying applicants that earn a degree after the initial certification. But what if they have already had a renewal and now they're getting their degree? What we wrote there would preclude them from getting those 10 credits, because we're saying after the initial certification. Maybe we should say after previously having been MSL certified.
Help me understand where you're at.
Initial or subsequent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we're saying applicants that earn the degree after the initial certification, meaning only after the initial certification. But if they've already been certified 3 times and now they go and get the degree, we still want them to get the 10 credits on whatever certification they're on, whether that's their 3rd or their 4th or their 5th. So we shouldn't say after the initial certification.
Yep.
How do we word that?
Kris said, or subsequent.
Yeah, there's a teacher statute certified. It says after the initial or subsequent certification.
Okay, so I will just throw this out there, but I think I feel like this could complicate it, but one thing you could do if you're really, really worried about that is you could require a certain number of credits in the renewal in the Montana stuff. You don't right now, and I love that flexibility because it respects the fact that many of the library directors are going to take the Montana library law and the Montana budget and stuff. But if the reason I bring that up is because I could see a library employee working on their MLIS degree and then becoming a library director. Personally, in my experience, those are people who value education and they're going to prioritize learning about the Montana law. And so I love just keeping it simple, but I guess I would throw that out there if that's a big concern.
I don't see, Tracy, how that relates to what we were just
Well,
discussing.
Oh, well, I think your worry is that somebody, could be working on their renewal certification. So they've already got their initial, they're working on their renewal in this new system, they get the degree, and you're saying, but how do we make sure they take the 10 Montana credits?
No, that's not what I was trying to say.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay, that's
I
fine.
was trying to say that we give 10 credits towards the renewal certificate only to those people who are on their very first renewal, because we're saying after the initial certification. And that was my beef. We're limiting it. So if you've already had your renewal twice over and now you're on your fourth time, you've been there for 20 years, we're not
Okay.
going to give you the 10 credits.
Okay.
Well, no, because they have to have earned it within the last 5 years.
Yes, they only get it once, right? But we don't want to limit it to where they can only get it on their first renewal certification. You can be on any of your certification renewals and you will get 10 credits if you earn that degree within 5 years, within that time frame.
So are you okay with Chris's suggestion of after the initial or subsequent certification?
Yes, I think that will take care of limiting ourselves to that only after the initial.
Perfect. All right. Anything else with this?
I'm just asking a question of Carmen. You don't think it needs to say you can count your MLL degree, Master's of Library Science degree, if it has been earned in the previous 5 years one time towards either initial certification or renewal certification?
I love library school. I don't think I'm going to go back and get another one.
Yeah. No, I don't mean go back and get it. I mean count it twice. Like I can't count it for my initial. And then when I got it 3 years ago. Okay, so it's within the 5 years. And I take my 1 year of certification and I use it for 10 credits. And now I'm in the renewal and I use it again for another 10 credits. That's what I'm saying.
So I think
So we need
Expired.
it would be towards a single renewal certificate.
Yeah, I think yes, towards one time.
But let's add one time somewhere or once or
Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would ask that. I would say, well, I counted it for that one. Can I count it again now? And why not? Well, because you did. But I would ask because I'd like to count it again if I could.
Okay.
So it'd be towards the pending towards the most recent or pending, a word that captures the most upcoming renewals.
Yeah, I just want it to say one time somewhere.
So if I added a sentence that said applicants may only use a recently earned MLIS degree once.
Either towards initial or renewal. They can use it once towards initial
or can we just add once to the sentence that's there? Or one time? Applicants that earn a degree after the initial or subsequent certifications have been achieved may substitute their degree for 10 credits towards their renewal certificate one time.
Okay.
Towards the renewal, or I don't mind having it be its own little section there. I think it's that important. I have no problem having a statement that says the MLS a Master of Library Science degree earned within the previous 5 years can be used for 10 credits towards the initial certification or renewal certification, period. That makes it very clean. It can be used once towards either or.
Okay. Right.
And I don't mind
Or we
over.
can just add a sentence to the end of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Earning
thinking.
a degree can only count once for 10 degrees, 10 credits towards certification. I mean,
Toward initial.
I think that would be pretty funny. It would never occur to me, Tammy, to ask for it twice because I think it defeats the whole intent. But I understand.
Yeah, because
Let's
you
make it
wouldn't,
clear.
but I would.
Yep, that's really funny. Let's add a sentence that just specifies you can use the degree for 10 credits only once.
And I acknowledge that character flaw that I have.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
I think Tracy and Coley have done a remarkable job of helping us put this together and coming up with a marvelous good document. You're doing the same thing, McKenna, over at OPI. Don't you think we've got a great deal accomplished on this? I don't mean to ask you a leading question of, but but don't you?
No, it is an incredibly complicated issue with the continuing education, and we are in like phase 2 or 3 of overhauling our entire system as well, and who can provide continuing education as well over at the OPI. It's a little bit more nuanced at the teacher level, so it's a bit different, and we have like very specific arm we have to follow and stuff like that as well. But we've done a lot over here at the library.
And aren't you kind of amazed how much we've gotten done with this booklet?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Tracy and Cole have done a fantastic job. So thank you guys both so much.
Pulling it in.
Rounding up our millions of thoughts.
So keep telling the board of OPI, it can be done. It can be.
One more comment on the table of contents, and I'm wondering if it's just a typo. At the bottom of the table of contents, it has appendix, page 5, and then it has required information and number 13. I'm wondering if this just accidentally made it onto the table of contents and doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, that is a good catch. That's a mistake. So,
Yeah, so
okay.
every time I look at this, I find something else. I'm sorry.
You're obviously a good editor.
You would be a wonderful editor.
Anything else?
Wow, what a good job.
Thank you for a nice discussion.
Okay. Thanks, Kris.
Kris, thanks for giving us your input. That was really helpful. That was really helpful.
Yep, that was helpful. Thank you.
We'll talk to you later. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Okay, I think that was it. So I will type up these notes. We'll make those adjustments in the language, and then we'll change everything with the 10 credits with the MLIS degree and everything we've talked about. And then we'll get that sent off to you. I am also going to miss the special meeting. I'll be on an airplane. So,
yay, fun.
Yes, actually, we're going to France. I'm leaving right after MLA, and then I'm coming back that day of your special meeting. So it is fun. I am looking forward to it, and I'm not signing in. So I am counting on all of you to carry it forward. So
now our special meeting on this, I thought it's not this coming Wednesday.
Nope, it's May, I believe. It's May. It's in May. It's May.
But we're not having a special Zoom meeting. We are.
Yep, it's the one you had originally already scheduled to go over the MGIA grants or.
Okay, let me make sure. I'm pretty sure I have that written down, but it would help me just a sec.
It's May 6th. That's when it is.
Thank
It's a
you.
special meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, May 6th. Good. Thank you. I do.
Wednesdays is the one with the MLA.
Yeah. So May 6th
Yeah.
is our committee, and it's at 1:00.
No, it's at 11.
Good, because I have a physical therapy at 11 at 1. But how long are they predicting it to go?
They have it scheduled for an hour on mine.
11 to noon. Okay, then. on the 6th for the Montana Library Commission. And that's the whole group.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I don't know how I didn't get that down there. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for the good discussion.
Have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed the Masters. I would never have watched the Masters in my life, except my husband is laying on the couch being iced. And well, that doesn't sound good either, does
Tammy,
it?
don't ice your husband, please. Don't do that.
No, I was going to say, you and I watch too many movies. And I would encourage anybody who wants to see a really, really fun movie to go to Project Hail